How's it going, everybody? My name is Sean, and I'm an addict. Yeah, I guess I'll start from the beginning. I grew up in Lakewood, which is across the bridge, pretty much Long Beach. I grew up in a good household. I mean, I had both my parents. I grew up differently as a child because my dad he's 96 right now, so he had me when he was 59, and my childhood was a lot different than a lot of other kids. The way I grew up, my dad was already retired, so I mean, he had all the time in the world to do what he wanted to do, which was go to the racetrack and go to the bar. And he had kids, so that's pretty much where I grew up. I was probably one of the very few children at 5 years old that knew what a trifecta was, and so I growing up in a bar and stuff. I What I learned was drinking and taking something to make yourself feel different. So that's how I grew up. I grew up just seeing people all the time, just doing something to make themselves feel different. And that always made me very curious. I mean, whenever like the SANE program came to my school and they were like trying to teach me how not to do drugs, I was like, oh man, yeah, that looks cool. Like I want to do that. And so I always had it ingrained in me that doing stuff, doing things outside of yourself to make yourself feel better was the way to live. And later on, I learned that that really wasn't the case. But anyways, so growing up, I had both my parents. I mean, my mom was the younger one, so she was the one that kind of was the active one, I guess you'd say. She was the one that like got me interested in baseball and like sports and stuff. She was also an alcoholic, but I wouldn't say as severe as my dad was. My dad would kill 3 handles of vodka in a week, and that wasn't even including what he would be drinking at the bar. A lot of times, me and my brother would have to carry our dad to the car to drive us home, and to me, that was just normal. Like I didn't know that that was wrong. I didn't know any different. I just thought that that's what everyone did. I thought that's how other kids lived. But I mean, later on, I realized that that's not the case. I mean, my dad loves me to death, but he did the best with what he could and what he knew, and I understand that. But anyways, fast forward to like middle school. Middle school is when I like got introduced into like smoking weed. And when I first smoked weed, I really liked it. I mean, I just finally got that like feeling like this is how I really want to feel. I mean, it made me like I'm normally a very shy person. So doing something that actually got me out of my little shy world in any way, shape, or form, like was just amazing to me. That was like the aha moment to me, like I can do something and it'll make me the person that I want to be. And so I started smoking weed, and I always hung out with older people because I kind of got into that because I would hang out at the bars and older dudes would teach me stuff. I mean, I knew how to play poker when I was 5, and knew how to play blackjack, and they were teaching me cigarette magic tricks, and like so, I learned a lot of stuff from older people. So I always tended to gravitate towards older people because I knew I could learn more from them, and I knew that even if it was good or bad, but I could learn more from them. So I gravitated towards older people. And when I was a teenager, I was gravitating towards people that were like 18 or in high school. And a lot of those people were doing drugs. So quickly after starting smoking weed, I started smoking meth. And I was 12, 13 years old. And that was really, really the the white light, like, yes, like, because when I smoked meth, it made me talkative. It got me out of my shell. Like it made me active. Like I wanted to do things. Like so, hey, let's do stuff, guys. Like even though when you did stuff, nothing ever got finished or put back together or like yeah. But so, so the meth smoking started, and the meth smoking started, and yeah, things just went from there. High school was not a part of my story because I did not like high school. I did not go to high school. Probably went my 9th grade year, and then 10th grade, my buddy taught me how to hop the fence, and I never went back. And because doing drugs is more important to me. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't understand at the time that like school might help me in my future, but at that time I didn't care. I mean, doing drugs with my friends was the way to go at the time. So I did the meth for a long time, and my brother was a huge part of all this because me and him were running partners basically. He was my best friend for a long time. He decided to join the Marine Corps out of nowhere. I don't know why, but he did, and that kind of put a halt to my meth using. But then in the Marine Corps, everyone is just a hardcore raging alcoholic. So then after he joined the Marine Corps, I just turned into a raging alcoholic, and I just started. I was drinking every day. It got to the point where I was drinking a fifth of vodka and a 30-pack of beer before I'd go to the bar. Because I mean, to me, too much is never enough. I mean, it's just I'm just a dumpster fire when it comes to anything. I just need to. It always seemed to me like everyone else got more messed up on half of what I needed to take twice the amount of anybody else to get how they got. That's the way it always seemed to me. And everyone was always too drunk to drive. I would always have to drive everyone home, even though I drank twice as much as everyone else. It was just a very vicious cycle. There was a point when I was drinking where I was having ulcers. I wasn't eating. I was just very, very sick all the time. I didn't understand that like that was what alcohol did to you. It poisoned you. I was getting the DTs all the time. I'd have to, even before I'd open my eyes, I'd have to crack a beer and just down it. I'd have to leave a little bottle of vodka next to the bed. It was just it's a very miserable place. I mean, because I mean, I never got drunk, so I mean, like the feeling it wasn't doing what I was getting in the first place. It was it was just miserable. So at a certain point in my drinking, I went to my friend's house, and I was drunk enough to have the great idea that, hey, why don't I try heroin? That might be a great idea. And I didn't smoke it my first time. I shot it my first time. So I took the leap in. So, but after that, that's where I really found what I like to do. Like I fell in love with heroin, and heroin. Oh, I used to describe to people, it's like a warm hug from God. Like, it's just that very yeah, and that was around like 23, and shortly after it was on and cracking. It was every single day, like every single day. And then see with heroin, it's funny because when you first do it, you get sick, and then once you do it enough, you get sick when you don't do it. It's a very vicious cycle. And once you hit that point when you're sick when you don't do it, that's when everything goes out the window of all your morals, everything. Like nothing comes before me getting well. That's all it was just constantly chasing, I need to get well. What am I going to do to get well? How am I going to get well? Who am I going to call to get well? Where am I going to steal from to get well? Where am I going to go to sell this to get well? Like it was all about just trying to satiate that dope sickness. Um, but anyways, I did that. I did that for the next. Let's see, when did I get sober the first time? When I was 28. I When I was 27, I got arrested. After many, many times of getting arrested. But I got arrested, and that's when I got my first prison sentence. And they caught me with some bullshit. They couldn't find the drugs when they raided my house, so they found my dad's like 40-year-old shotgun shells and then charged me with felon in possession of ammunition. So I got sent to prison for that. When I got out of prison, first thing I did, went and got high. I was telling myself when I was in prison, like, oh, I'm not gonna do it anymore. I'm going to straighten out and go right. But literally, as soon as I got off the bus into LA, first thing I went and did, caught some heroin, shot some dope. And then, so when I went to go see my PO the first time, I straight up told him, like, dude, like, I am not going to get sober on my own. It's either you put me in a program or else I'm just going to keep getting high. So that's what he did. And that's actually where I met Nancy for the first time. It was in 2015. Yeah. I love you to death, Nancy. First time I got sober, I mean, I really wanted to get sober, I thought, but at the time, I was just kind of just biding my time to get off of, to discharge my number, because as soon as I discharged my number after that year, I first thing I did was went and got some meth, and then I got high enough on meth to get how I really want to feel, which is high on some heroin. And at the time, I'm like, I think I could shoot heroin like a gentleman right now. Like, I'm not gonna get crazy, and I'm not gonna get crazy again. It's not gonna be the same. Those are the lies we all tell ourselves. I mean, it's just another excuse. It's just another excuse to go back out. Like, there's so many excuses that my disease has just locked and loaded, just getting ready to fire right in my noggin, just to give me that bright idea. It's always those bright ideas that take us back out. So I was running and gunning again after that, because sure enough, everyone told me this, but you literally pick up right where you left off. Like, it's just fall right back into misery. There was a couple times. I mean, I've overdosed, I think, like 4 or 5 times. The first time, they had to hit me with epinephrine. They hit me with like 3 things of Narcan. Yeah, like it was crazy. But I remember when, after they hit me with the epinephrine, it's a very violent wake up, by the way. After they hit me with epinephrine, I wake up just in the ambulance, in the back of the ambulance. And I remember even before I could think, like, the first words out of my mouth to the paramedics was, why? Why did you bring me back? I don't want to be here anymore. And it shocked me and it shocked them, because at the time I didn't really understand what kind of state of mind I was in. I was miserable. Like, I hated being me. Like, I hated living. I didn't want to deal with life anymore. It was just so miserable. I was trying to surround myself with people all the time, but I always felt alone. No matter how many people I was around, I always felt alone, no matter what. And it was killing me day to day. It was just killing me. Like, I mean, I wasn't trying mentally, I wasn't actively trying to kill myself, but I mean, I think subconsciously I was, because I knew how much dope I could take. I threw 1.5 grams in the spoon and was like, yeah, let's let it ride. And I mean, it was just that state of hopelessness. And it was that state of hopelessness because I didn't know of anything else to make it better. And what I was doing to make it better, the only solution I had, wasn't working anymore. That's when things got really, really hard on me, because the only solution I know isn't working anymore. So what the fuck do I do now? And I'm at that point to where I can't get out of already what my solution was, because I'm so deep in it that I'm fucking miserable without it. So I mean, it was that cliff point where like what am I going to do? Like, it was either I'm going to jump off or I'm going to try and find another way. But anyways, yeah, it was just miserable. I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy what it feels like to be in that place of, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be alive anymore. Like, someone please just put me out of my misery. That's the way I felt. And my heart just ached, and I didn't know of any way to make it better. And even in the first time I got sober, like, I knew that there was a way, but I think a lot of it was shame. I just didn't want to come back to people that I knew, and that I just felt shame. It was horrible, horrible shame. And that's another thing too. all the things I did to get high and to continue staying high made me even more shameful, because I would steal, I would lie, I would cheat, I would do anything I possibly could to get more. And then after I would get that, then all the feelings would hit me. And then so I'd have to go get more on top of that to try and numb all the feelings I felt from doing all that shit. It's just that constant vicious cycle of just trying to find some ease and comfort from something. You're just trying to find some comfort from something. You're trying to find what it is, but you just don't know what the fuck it is. And it's just a constant battle with myself, and just with the things I chose to do, because it was my choice. I chose to do all those things to myself. I mean, I'd do horrible things to myself. Bash cottons until I got cotton fever. I've had abscesses almost everywhere on my body. I have no veins anymore. I had an abscess so deep it was this big on my leg, and it was all the way to my femur bone. I could see my femur bone through my leg. It was just, I mean, I just didn't care. Once you stop caring about yourself, like you don't, like the rest of the world is just nothing. It's just like a dark abyss, I would call it. And then another thing happened to me. My best friend, which I like to call her my sister, she died in a car accident when I lent her my car. She got in a fatal collision on the 605 freeway. I lent it to her to go do a Postmate delivery, and then sure enough, hours go by, and I'm like, where the fuck is she at? And then sure enough, I come to find out that the police came to my parents' house and told them that my car was in an accident, and then I get back to my house, my parents tell me that the police were there. So I start calling hospitals and stuff, thinking she's in the hospital somewhere. I neglected to call the morgues because I thought she was still alive. But my dad gets me up and he's like, come on, we gotta go. You gotta go sign over your car. So I go to the impound lot, and I walk up and I go to the front desk, and then I ask where my car was. I give him the license plate number, and he's like, were you driving that car? I was like, no. He's like, oh, well, I understand now. So I walk out to go see my car. As soon as I see my car, I just break down crying, because I knew that my sister is not in this world anymore. That was really, really hard for me. Her sister actually still blames me for it. She thinks it's my fault somehow. I don't understand that, but anyways, that was really, really hard on me. That was a big loss in my life. After that, I hit it a little harder. That was I think that was 2018, October 2018 when she died. Yeah, I hit it harder. Like I said, it's about trying to ease feelings I don't like. I'm always trying to get out of the way I feel, because feelings hurt to me. I don't like feeling. I think that's why I liked heroin so much, because it makes you not feel. Like it doesn't just kill pain, it kills emotions, it kills a lot of things. So finally, this last time I got arrested, I got caught with 8 milled out AR-15 lowers. I got caught with a 1911 45 with the silencer on it, and a half ounce of fentanyl, and an ounce of meth. And when I got arrested, they're putting me in the back of the car. I'm just like, fuck, I'm doing 10 years in feds. So like that was automatic to me, because I knew what the consequences were of having all that shit. But I did it anyways. Luckily, when I went to court, by the grace of God, my public defender comes up and says, hey, the DA just told me either you take a program right now, or the feds are going to pick up your case and you're doing 10 years minimum. So I'm like, shoot it. When I came to Fred Brown, I really didn't have any intentions of staying sober, to be honest. I'm being 100% honest here. I said I'll do this until I get off probation, and then I'll just keep doing what I like doing. And you know what I found? I found that I am doing what I like doing. Being sober is being sober is amazing. If you would have told me 2 years ago I would be where I'm at now and as happy as I am now, I wouldn't have believed you. Like I really just wouldn't have believed it. I have so many good things in my life. I have a beautiful girlfriend. I have I have a place that's not a tent or a hotel room. I have, most importantly though, it's not even about the things, it's about the peace of mind. I'm not going to say I don't have thoughts about drugs anymore because I can't say that, but the obsession is gone. The obsession is not there. The thought comes and it leaves just as quickly as it came. Like it's amazing. Like before I would just dwell on things, and especially about using, I would just dwell on it and dwell on it. But you know what? That's not the case anymore. And I really am happy. I mean, one thing I will say about to you guys that are still inpatient, use your time wisely to work on yourselves. Because when life hits, oh, and it's gonna hit, because bills are expensive. When life hits, you're gonna need a foundation to work through some stuff. Shit's gonna happen that you're not gonna like. That's just life. Shit happens. But it's about how you deal with those things. It's about how you react to those things. That's the real importance of getting and listening to the people around you in the fellowship. They have gone through shit. They can help you go through shit. That's the whole thing about fellowshipping. Sponsorship is a huge, huge thing too. Like first it's the book, then it's sponsorship, because you need a sponsor to help you go through the book. But the book is important. Sponsorship is important, man. And don't find a sponsor that just looks good and has stuff you want. Find a sponsor that has peace of mind. Like someone I look up to always says this: I'd like to see a good sermon than hear one. Find a person that's actually acting like a good person, like that, because there's a lot of people that can talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. That's a huge part about this. Find someone that you're comfortable with and that actually has some recovery under their belt. That's a huge, huge thing. Also, steps are really important, guys. The most important one for me is the third step. The third step is super important for me because I'm a control freak. I like to be in control, and when shit doesn't go my way, then I'm pissed. And when I give up control, it's made my life so much easier. Like when I stop worrying about every little detail of everything and just let it happen and actually enjoy moments instead of trying to control them, my life became so much better and I became so much happier. It's wonderful. I mean, the step work is really important. It's a lot of people say that step 4 is hard. For me, it wasn't. It was actually the amends. The amends were really hard because I actually had to clean my side of the street and talk to people that I'd done some dirty ass shit to. Um, um, I don't know if I'm gonna make it the whole 30 minutes, but yeah. Anyways, one thing I will say is just give yourselves a break. Give yourselves a break. We're all like I'm super hard on myself. I've been way too hard on myself for way too long. And when I finally gave myself a break and actually gave myself room to breathe and to actually try and grow, that's when it happened. It's liberating. Like you just give yourselves a break, guys. And Someone told me this a long time ago, and it really stuck with me. A lot of people say you gotta crawl before you walk, but there's something that's even before that. Before you learn how to crawl, you gotta learn how to hold your head up. That's something that really stuck with me. Pakistaning me. All right. Well, I'll end it with this. Guys, there are people around here that will care about you. You just got to care about yourselves, and they'll help you. They'll help you find out how to do that. And if nobody's told you they love you today, I love you. Yeah.
Thank you.